X plus 4 plus X plus 2 equals 14. All right, great problem. Let's see how we solve this. First of all, like all algebra problems, we completely ignore the big scary words. So this kind of problem is called linear equations, and we have a shark and a dinosaur out here to the right just to make fun of the big scary words. All you have to do is absolutely nothing. Skip those big scary words. Now, on to the problem. What we want to do is get x by itself. This is sometimes called solving for x or isolating x. But what we want to have is x by itself on one side of this equation. All we're going to do is move numbers around until we have that. The first step here is just to combine the things that look similar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the terms that look alike. So I see x here and I see x here. So I'm just going to combine those and call that 2x. And then everything else, I'm just going to continue to write the same way, unchanged. The 4 here, I'm going to write a plus 4. And then this 2, I'm going to write a plus 2. So we're just bringing that down. And that's equal to, over here on the right side, we have a 14. So I'm just going to write that 14 again. So now we have 2x plus 4 plus 2 equals 14. And so once again, I see a couple of numbers here. Just these numbers by themselves, they're called constants, but who cares? Anyway, you see a 4 and a 2. That can be combined into a 6, right? So I'm going to rewrite the equation. Let me just start again with white. So I'm just going to bring down this 2x. That's unchanged. That's this right here. Just bringing that down, unchanged. The terms I'm combining are 4 plus 2, so 4 plus 2 is 6. So I'm going to combine those two and just call that a plus 6. And then over on the other side of the equation, nothing has changed. That's still 14. So let me just rewrite that. 2x plus 6 equals 14. And the next step is to get rid of this 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract a 6 from both sides. And I'm going to do that in blue just so you can see it. Of course, the color doesn't really matter, but I'm subtracting a 6 from the left side, and I'm going to subtract a 6 from the right side. So just remember in math, there's that little ruly-poo or thingy-poo that says you can do anything you want to both sides of the equation as long as you do the same thing to both sides of the equation. Kind of like a little brother and sister. You know, if you give one of them a treat, you have to give the other one a treat, right? So that neither one of them feels left out. So anything you do to one side, you do to the other side. So now I'm going to simplify these terms on the left side. This plus 6 and minus 6, this is all going to simplify to 0. That is going to be plus 0. So we'll just bring down the 2x, and then plus 6 minus 6 is 0, right? So we're just going to leave that as 0. And then on the other side of the equation, it equals 14 minus 6 is 8. So this plus 0, we don't really need that anymore, right? So let's just rewrite this as 2x equals 8. And I'll just bring that up to the other side here. 2x equals 8. Okay, now for the final step, we need to get rid of the 2. So I'm just going to divide both sides by 2. Once again, I'm making use of that little ruly-poo or thingy-poo in math. It says you can do anything you want to one side of the equation as long as you do the same thing to both sides of the equation. So this 2 term, 2 divided by 2, is going to cancel out into just 1, right? Anything divided by itself is 1. And then x is just going to stay as x, and that equals, On the right side, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so just to write that another way, x equals 4. We don't need the 1 in front. And I'm going to put a rectangle around it just to make sure that we know that's our solution. And we can stop right here. This is it. We've solved the problem. But since we're A students and we want to make sure we didn't make a mistake, I'm going to do one more step, and that is to plug this x equals 4 back into the original equation and make sure that both sides are equal. That way we'll verify that x equals 4 is the correct solution. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the original equation, and I'm going to plug in our solution of x equals 4 just to verify that both sides are equal, and that way we know we got the right answer. So this is an optional step. We'll start with this x right here. Let's plug in for that x the number 4 plus this 4 right here is part of the equation, plus, and now for this x we're going to plug in the number 4, and then this plus 2 right here stays the same, plus 2 equals 14. And now let's just add up these numbers on the left side. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14, right? So we have 14 on the left, and that equals 14 on the right. So because we got an equality, or two numbers that are equal, pardon me for using a big word, but because this checked out when we plugged in x equals 4, we know that our solution is correct. And I'm going to give us an A+.
Thumbs up and subscribe. For more videos like this, check out algebravideos.com.